Omanpenyin Abediechire, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Mahamudu Bawumia, PhD. Akwaba.
Yenia.
Boko de.
Yadanga mercy.
Hey, me say chini why then and say you.
No, we dey galamsey.
Galamsey wanya papa. Enche biani aka ni nyina be yira. No. Ano pay ya dase no wadaje. Yenim say wadwuma doso. But when I had adaje. In fact, this is the first time a sitting vice president of Ghana Abba Peace FM Ejumedi Kokrokoso. You've just made history.
Oh, sir. Okay.
Inti Dasipa. Yes, the Huawai. Say, Omanpenyin Abediechire. Last time Abba, now you're candidates.
Now
you're running mates. And as you say, we are vice president. Thank you very much for honoring us. But again, talking about candidate and running mate, and then that's so special about Bawumia said 4 times, 2008, Koya Nyi, 2012, Okoya Nyi, you and I were not there, 2016, and a year, 2020. My pension no one echo.
I know.
What's so special about you? We nipa bang.
I don't really see anything special, but BBI edition nyamensem. Yeah. Nyamedie nuhu yehumpa. You know, and most of the times we don't know how he puts things, but that is how it has happened. And sana etie. So midanyamiase namida. My boss Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo also I say because only now make a choice nka or pair on choosing me but consistency any the faith in me or one intina Yami Adam was choosing me 4 consecutive times. Mingidi say Ghana abc so we dear Nina Yami Ninshishare Medanyamiase.
From candidate to vice president, how does it feel at all saying? Then Assasa.
Of course, a human Assasa, a human Oye as candidate, it's a bit different from a human Oye as vice president. Yeah. As vice president, my boss and mommy Juma said I may chair economic management team and also overseeing a lot of other things he has asked me to do. While him say constitution and I am my vice president in a specific role. So, what you can do is what your boss asks you to do. Well, and he said the assistant said a Jumana assistant. So we're sort of working on the agenda of the president. Deliver on what we have promised and what he has promised and what he wants us to deliver. So sana assistant. Otherwise, but for me personally, dear, I'm still the same.
I see.
I'm not seeing any change in me.
Well, you've put on weight.
A little bit.
Oh, I can see if and no as an answer we could try photo me Mra also in inauguration near the companions here. I was so maybe actually my put on weight. The stress of the job.
Well, any late night eating, so we are on it. Yeah, of course we are doing more exercise now.
I see. Mahamudu and pay Peace 104.3 na mutie mo share show UTV live Omanpenyin Abediechire Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia ewa ha anope na enkomotwetwe de ensem no edoso. Mr. Vice President oka say moye Omanpenyin vision nia Omanpenyin aye na adwen say nani swade hunu a oye and all the adwuma ni bi ahye mo nsasa mo ye manom economic management team ni ade. You started with the economy or na minim say obi anim say na wudi mu akwetene time am your campaign our running mate o share economy then and now nyamo ye na ete say
Yamiadum, I think economy then and now no is like night and day. Vast difference, Womu, and the way that under the leadership of Nana Akufo-Addo said they manage economy, no. The outcome is quite clear, and it's a superior outcome to what we inherited. There was not a huge We've been able to manage the economy and delivered a few solid records. We share a fiscal deficit between 2016 and 2019. The BAFOM, and then we share from 6.8 to 4.8%. We share primary surplus as far as the primary surplus, which indicates your expenditure less your revenue less your expenditure, excluding your interest payments. And also, we between 2017 and 2019, we had surpluses for 3 consecutive years, and that was first time in our in our history, for a long history, that we've had that first time in a decade, really, specifically, that we've had that. And then the rate of debt accumulation, the rate of debt increase in our debt stock has also slowed down, decline in inflation. And also, if you look at our interest rates, we have also seen a major decline in lending rates from 32 to 23%. The monetary policy rate came down from 25.5 to 14.5%. A trade surplus also between 2017 and 2019. This is the first time in 2 decades Ayanya trade surplus 3 consecutive years in a row. We share exchange rate depreciation, and also one who said the rate of depreciation has been halved, 50% less compared to what we inherited. And also a major achievement. And even when you look at this year, we are having a COVID year and an election year.
Yeah, COVID.
The year so far, your exchange rate, is around a 2% depreciation, which is really a stable exchange rate by all accounts in an election year. So as far as the management of the economy is concerned, we have done a lot. The sovereign credit rating has increased. We were upgraded by S&P for the first time in a decade. We had the largest Eurobond issued, longest Eurobond issued by a sub-Saharan African country, 41-year bond, and that shows confidence. We've cleaned up a lot of the financial mess that we inherited in the financial system.
Interesting, Mr. Vice President.
We said, you're moving the economy from taxation to production. And also, we've reduced and abolished over 15 separate taxes, including a 50% decrease in import duty. And then, notwithstanding the reduction in the taxes, revenue still went up by 25% on average. Usually real sector no more so. Production was going up, a great increase from 2.9% to 6.4%. Industry from 4.3% to 8.8%. Services also 2.8% to 5.4% between 2017 and 2019 before COVID hit. So when we say we are really moving on the real sector of the economy, and then we are digitizing the economy. I hope we will talk a little bit about digitization later on. But this was an economy we inherited that. Not yentimin teacher training allowance, yentimin nursing training allowance. Teachers are almost 2 to 3 years. No mama almost 3 months arrears. 3 months for 2 to 3 years work. Arabic instructors, unemployment, ambulances, NHIS. The arrears were almost 12 months. So this was the same economy I inherited. And within a spit of a 1 year budget, this same economy that yentimi tua teacher training allowance no, yafa free senior high school, aba major item of expenditure. Which the same economy that we inherited.
And then
we had to re-look at the prioritization of our expenditure. We went through a process of fiscal consolidation, re-looked at our prioritization of the expenditure. And I remember quite clearly President Bisaya said, can we implement it in the first year? Yes, Mr. President. If it's your priority, we will implement free SHS in the first year. And then we went ahead and did it. We removed a lot of nuisance taxes. We expanded the growth through planting for food and jobs and other things. We expanded the growth of the economy. We inherited a 3.7% growth, and on average, we've done a 7% growth between 2017 and 2019. And that increase in growth means increase in revenues, and so we have been able to expand the fiscal space. And then the nature of the management of the debt was also important. When for example, we were spending 6.9% of GDP, our income, on debt servicing. By 2019, we're spending 5.6%. So even though the debt stock had increased, but the burden on the economy had decreased. So that takes some management. And as you know, we were able to work through and exit the IMF program, which was done successfully. So we were able to turn around the economy. An economy that was hamstrung. There was a freeze on employment. You couldn't hire teachers and doctors as you willed to do. There was a freeze on public sector employment. We've been able to create this fiscal space. We've done free SHS, we've done NABCO, we've done, one village, one dam, one constituency, one ambulance, all of these interventions. But the economy we inherited, na teacher training or nursing training. That was the result of the mismanagement of the economy, and that is what we campaigned on. And so we are very happy. We think that there is more to do, but the record of performance is clearly superior. I mean, any aspect of the economy, and I mean any aspect of the economy, our record is superior to what we inherited.
Talking about record is superior. As an economist, numbers versus reality.
That's right.
Yes. Why 6.5? You're about 5.6. Why you see? Yabani see. But who can you know? Na Mekai or mantra as running mate.
Yes.
People are suffering.
I know.
Ghanaians are suffering.
Yes.
And you can. But in spite of Nyama Uche, say economy near better say Canadian. What it is, Sanya Mani be say, as a month will be suit patches, people are suffering at the soho. Napco boy, it has its challenges, free SHS, on the challenges. One village, one dam, one district, one the challenges.
Oh, yes.
Inti Sa Nyama okay, Nipan people feel it.
Kwame, I think that as for challenges there, say there's any country in the world many challenges on anything, but the important thing is say you do things to bring relief to people. When we came, for example, electricity prices even under Dumso were going up by 45% annually, average. Even under Dumso. What will be that? Dumso was there and we were increasing electricity prices, 45% on average. They had cancelled teacher training allowance. So the teachers were suffering. Households were suffering. They had cancelled nursing training allowance. They were suffering. The teachers were being paid 2 to 3 months for 2 to 3 years of work. So they were also suffering, So we had the NHIS became almost cash and carry. So people who were using the health system were suffering. Access to ambulance was not there, and many rural areas were suffering because basic infrastructure was not there. And people could not pay their children's school fees to go to school. So when it created an environment of increased hardship. And when we came in, we are not saying we've eliminated hardship, but we have reduced it tangibly. So electricity prices have come down by about 11% cumulatively. 11%. NDC war, cumulatively, electricity went up by 265%, cumulatively. Free SHS Aba, it is helping reduce the suffering of our people. NAPCO Aba, graduate unemployment is reducing. It is reduced. 100,000 people are being employed, and that is very, very important. The Zongo Development Fund is providing some infrastructure in Zongos today. One district, one factory is providing jobs. One village, one dam is providing water to farmers that need it, planting for food and jobs. And also, it's helping a lot of farmers across the country. And this is why, when we say food production, it has gone up very significantly. And we are even exporting foods now rather than importing. And that is a major benefit to us. So, we haven't eliminated suffering. But compared to before we have reduced it, and this is why we need to continue and continue to reduce it more, and that is what inshallah we want to do in our next term.
Ebiaka se nyama na mudi tumo hono ba ko ne se oba CD no ba bi obi abechin dia koma IGP na walo ko no
arresting
but CD no still no and shed especially against the US dollar. And yet to send ya Wokasa obey no.
Oh, actually,
and that's so sad.
No. I think that I'm happy to say what this is our question here because you're running flexible exchange rate regime. You're fixed exchange rate regime. So exchange rate no there ever movie according to the market forces. But fundamentally, the exchange rate is going to be determined by your inflation rate, other things being equal. Or high inflation now, ubenya higher depreciation. Or lower inflation now, ubenya lower depreciation. That's the fundamental. So we are going to arrest the CDR, and yes, we are going to lock it at one rate, but essentially lock it within the range of the fundamentals. Saying that the lower inflation rates will produce lower depreciation. We have 2013 to 2016, the exchange rate was depreciating at 18% on average, 18. Whereby 2016 to 2019 is 8.7% on average. And because we've come down to 2%, if you, but we are not going to add that yet, but you will see it even lower if we did it on a 4-year basis. But we are 18% versus 8%. So we have reduced, as I said, by more than 50% the rate of depreciation of the currency. If you said that your currency under the NDC, the currency in terms of the dollar to the cedi, it was saying about $1 to 1 cedi. Okay, that time
2009.
Around, that's right. It was almost $1 to 1 cedi yet buy. By the time they left office, Omugdi called what 4 to 1. And yes, sir. So it was a quadrupling of the rate of the nominal rate of the cedi. Exactly. 9. Now, yeba from 4 no anka yeso yebe quadruple anka yebe ko 16 and yes yes, if we had moved at that sort of rate no anka ye ko 16. So but where are we? 5 point something, almost 6 today, right? Instead of, if we had followed their trajectory, no ankana we would within our term we would have been talking about 16. But when you talk about depreciating at an exchange rate of about 8% on average, and you are having inflation around that amount, between 10 and so on, you have really performed well, because the exchange rate is consistent with the fundamentals. It's consistent with inflation.
What kind of fundamentals, Makayo? If the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. One, okay.
I don't know. And
at this point, we're sure that the fundamentals are strong enough.
Yes, but in Anka, not strong enough. Election year so far, August.
Yes.
And you have a depreciation of the currency of just around 2%. It's very remarkable. I mean, you touch wood. Let's hope it stays that way. But it's really remarkable. I've not seen the exchange rate depreciation since 1992.
Mm-hmm.
Since 1992, be this low in an election year. I've not seen it. It's not in the data, and let's hope we continue to hold the fundamentals strong.
One thing we've all not seen also is COVID.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, who COVID did that until March this year started also COVID obviously will affect it.
Oh, yes.
Revenues, the economy, and all of that.
Yeah.
COVID at the same way economy.
No, the way there, Santina, Minister for Finance, did tuja in the mid-term review recently, because COVID, it has devastated the global economy. And ya Ghana nkwa.
We are safe now.
So when we say our exports will be affected, our imports would be affected, our revenues are declining. At the same time, our expenditures are costly. So the deficit will be increasing. And so the COVID has been very, very adverse to our progress. But as I keep saying, it has delayed what we wanted to do, but I don't think it has derailed it. And we believe that the programs that we are putting in place will allow us to recover relatively quickly from COVID in terms of its impact on the economy. We are quite optimistic on that, but the impact on the economy has been adverse, no doubt about that.
So it's delayed but not derailed.
That's right.
After COVID,
yeah.
That is assuming there will be anything like after COVID. But COVID ni Brasia. Yeah, sure say by some na yetimi asusonia mamukakra.
Nyamiadum, because when we say COVID, it has revealed a few things, and Senana Kufuado Oka, Ghana beyond aid, Ghana beyond aid, Ghana beyond aid. COVID by whom say this is the time for the practical implementation of Ghana beyond aid, because we are now PPEs, personal protective equipment, mask na dear. Yeni were hospitals more. Now you say this is the time to stop importing those that we can make here. Now you make it so there's a lot of the PPEs are here domestically. So domestic production is very, very important. So we are looking at that side in terms of producing things internally. When we put in our manifesto, try and focus on made in Ghana products, and in terms of government procurement, let's focus on made in Ghana. Let's produce here and let us manufacture here. So there is a lot of thinking, and thankfully for Ghana, we were already on that march towards the Ghana Beyond Aid vision. And with COVID, it is only going to accelerate our march towards the Ghana Beyond Aid. So when we hear industrialization now, 1D, 1F is already in place. We are ahead of many countries in Africa on that. In terms of the industrialization directive, the automotive industry is coming into stream and coming in on its own. So VW, Kantanka, all of these, Toyota is coming. So yeah, building automotive industry to come in and help us along with other industry. We're trying to also add value to our bauxite. Yashasi, and by the end of this year, I think Yebe choose a partner for us on the bauxite to begin the integration of the bauxite and aluminium industry. We are doing the same for iron and steel. So the areas the core post-COVID, they've already been identified. We're already on the march towards it, but we just now have to entrench it and accelerate it kakra.
Just a yenyan in tentem kakra.
No.
But some ya woka say COVID ama ye sika sem so ahana kakra ni ade no. Some nso ni hu say aban no eye nyoma bebre. Free meals. Ye ma school kola aduane, ye tua school fees, ye say year of roads. Ye nyoma bebre. Na obi be say scan wo he e ma nipa bebre fi say anase adwen kire say aban no bobosia dodo na ebi e bosia ne ye bo ede ye sa nyoma we na dachi ye bebre we it looks like we're borrowing now anase we dachi no going forward ye bebre scan free.
Well, fundamentally anka to me, even if you go to try to borrow and your fundamentals are not right, nobody will give you the money. Santina, we hear 2014, the credibility of the government was very, very low. So they ended up Omuko IMF for a bailout, all right, because they couldn't get to the market to borrow. So, fundamentals, as I have said, when you look at the fiscal, you look at the monetary, you look at the external sector and the real sector, your fundamentals were in a much stronger position. And that stronger fundamental position has allowed us, to weather the storm much better. That's what I'm saying, that if you have an economy that could not pay teacher training allowance, how could they have given free water? They wouldn't have been able to give free water. They couldn't have been able to reduce electricity by 50%. They wouldn't have been able to give the meals that we have given, and so on. So the expenditures are undertaken. We are protecting lives and livelihoods. Because you have to look at the economy and you have to look at lives and livelihoods. The president has said that his number one priority is to protect the lives and livelihoods of Ghanaians. Once that is done, as for the economy, we know how to fix it, he said, but we don't know how to bring anybody back to life. So when you come in and you have your children at home, you are using electricity, you are using water. In this COVID, you have to keep washing your hands, but you are not at work, you are not earning, but we are asking you to stay at home. What do? We have to cushion you. So you protect the livelihoods. Say, this few months you will not pay water bill, or this few months if you are a lifeline consumer, untia electricity bill, and all of that. So when then the health workers, you cushion them with allowances and tax reliefs and all of that. When a boy and the business people, we provided almost 750 million Ghana cedis because a lot of businesses were hurting to do that. But those expenditures were necessary expenditures to cushion our people and to cushion the economy. And this is why when you are in management of economy, when you save for the bad times as well. And we are in a much stronger position to make these expenditures. And by the way, when we say without making some of these expenditures, you would have been seeing a collapsing economy. because that is really the alternative where we will all be collapsing. But we are making sure that we use the resources to protect lives, to protect livelihoods, and by the grace of God, once this thing blows over, we will be able to get moving again the way we were already moving.
Your Excellency, we're using these resources to protect lives, to protect property, and all of that.
Yes.
But at what cost? Will all of this not come back and bite us one day? And for how long can we continue like this?
Well, the whole issue we raise, is essentially about sustainability.
Sustainability.
That is all that you're saying.
Say you beat me
that is what economic management is about. Say in the year 2000, Ghana's total debt was around $9 billion dollars. In the year 2000. That $9 billion debt, a deal called HIPIC, at that time, inflation was around 40%. Interest rates were in that range. Exchange rate depreciation was around 49%. In that, just a $9 billion debt got us into that position, right? Today, you are having a debt stock of over $200 billion.
Dollars?
No, Ghana cedis.
Cedis.
Yeah, okay. Ghana cedis. Right? We inherited a debt of about 122 billion. But if you look at the rate of increase in the debt stock between 2016 and 2019 is the lowest in the decade. Between 2016 and 2019, if you include the banking sector bailout, you have an increase in the debt stock of 9.3%. If you exclude the banking sector bailout, it's at 3.9%. Between 2008 and 2012, the rate of increase of the debt stock was 49%. 49. 2012-2016 was 19%. Then for 2016-2019, we are talking about 3.9% if you exclude the banking sector bailout, or 9.3% if you include it. So there's a lot of prudence, notwithstanding the higher debt levels, but these debt levels are within a sustainable framework, even though we have to manage it. You see inflation coming down, you're seeing the exchange rate being stable, you're seeing external.
But as I say, COVID inflation across Rukaka.
Yes. We say we were around about 8%, 7.9 to 8%. So say 11%, and that is understandable within that context. And this is why Mika say, notwithstanding that, you will see, say, the macro fundamentals are in a much better shape than one would have expected. And that's because we were already in a strong position.
Interesting. What about crisis, banking and financial crisis? That is one area that Nipa Bibri Ehukai, individuals, companies, organizations, livelihoods. To start off with, banking crisis, why didn't we just let it ride? I didn't hear
Hey, Kwame.
Yes, sir.
Let it ride here.
I said, Nipa Bebre Pache said their lives were moving on. Okay. Banking, financial, and idea which anaba.
Usheka muna driver no or the question. Now I say everything is going well. Next thing you know, you are jumping over the cliff when you're accident. But let us go back to the beginning. Banking crisis is very sad because the previous government were fully aware, say there was a problem.
They were?
Fully aware, say no problem was in terms of the financial sector and the banking sector. 2015. IMF asset quality review 2015, and it showed major problems in the banking sector. I spoke about it sometime in 2015, and Mika said we have 8 banks which could collapse if nothing is done about it. A former president, in his State of the Nation address in 2016, pointed to the problems, especially in the microfinance sector. Even under their tenure, 82 microfinance institutions collapsed. 82, including DKM. So there were such bad practices of governance and the management of these institutions, and we had to step in because some of the banks were set up without any capital. They just lied their way to setting up the bank. They moved money here, showed it to the central bank. Central bank gave them the license. Then they moved the money out. And they were using central bank liquidity support for other purposes rather than reviving these banks. So when we say by the time we got into office, things were really unraveling. And the new management at the central bank decided to rescue, because we were on the brink, really on the brink of a collapse of the system. And so they had to move quickly to rescue the financial system. And that is why they revoked the licenses, I think, of about 9 banks or so, and 23 savings and loans, and over 300 microfinance institutions. And that act is one of the most important acts that have been done to save our economy. Kwame,
yes, sir.
You had depositors, 4.6 million depositors whose monies were at stake. 4.6 million. Kwame, can you imagine, say pay 4.6 million people will lose their deposits completely? Can you imagine? Like the 82 that had already lost, 82 depositors of the 82 financial institutions that had collapsed before, who were not paid. We were on the brink of losing the deposits of 4.6 million people. Intina, the rescue plan was implemented, and you had to essentially rationalize the banking system and make sure that the deposits were saved. And so those deposits were saved. At the end of the day, government has had to expend, close to 21 billion in the financial sector to save these deposits.
Was it that bad?
It was, Kwame. When I saw the numbers at the time, it was quite frightening.
The reason I'm asking was it that bad is because some have said that we could have handled it better. We could have found ways to go around it without people losing their jobs and
but Kwame, it doesn't make sense, because we were trying to handle it. That was how it was being done before as a country. They were being given support to try to keep them afloat. Liquidity support, but it wasn't being used for the right purpose. And when you have people who have mismanaged banks, and they don't have the capital, and they've missed all the supervisory regulatory ratios that are required, it's not new that you close the banks, but you make sure that the customers' deposits are safe. So you move them, which in this case they move them to GCB and Consolidated Bank for the most part.
Also 2015 as a 2014 IMF, World Bank, Nina can say banking crisis, it's on our hands. I'm a penny Sabreno, so can wasem. Ain't I didn't the Bank of Ghana ain't taking action at the time. How about a more Bank of Ghana Yoma Juma? You've been deputy governor before. I didn't know my Juma. I was some in 1 year. And how come says I did buy Ubia as a Bank of Ghana?
Bawumia, I think there have been some reforms at the Bank of Ghana as a result. And I think that they have been very, very strong in looking at financial sector and putting in certain governance protocols so that what happened, the AC, in CBM. That is what the Bank of Ghana has done, both internally and externally. But you are right, say some of the blame has to be at the feet of the bank in terms of our supervisory oversight, the bank's supervisory oversight, and then you are also dealing with the situation of the banks themselves, who were to a large extent presenting very false and misleading reports to the central bank about the state of their data, their records, their financial records. Very misleading reports, as we've seen. So we are moving forward to do it. Right now, as you know, that there is still the issue of some of the savings and loans and microfinance companies that have not yet been paid. The depositors, the banks have been paid, but what we want to ensure is equality of treatment between what we have done for the bank customers and what we have to do for the savings and loans, and no more any for microfinance customers. So I'm happy to say that so far, as at yesterday, I am informed that the liquidity has now been raised to take care of all the savings and loans and the microfinance companies. So I think that the receiver is going to go ahead starting this week to make payments to these groups, like DKM customers and so on. It is very, very important that process begin, and we hope it will be completed.
Your Excellency, talking about payment, nipa bisu wa home patch say Amampenyi Nanado Dankwe Kufado ka say ibituomuka tell YouTube biaka inso bi patch so monsanka omusika ebisu patch say mama musika no fia bi ana ne aka no mo say bonds bond so de sebe and school fees in electricity in tohe yes sir.
As I'm say 98% of depositors Omusa aka omusika. That's what the receiver tells us. 98%.
Omusika 100%.
Yes.
And I say Sikane bond.
Well, I think that there's a mix of the two.
Okay.
Sikane bond so but I think that 98% have gotten. But the bond is just basically an acknowledgement of an obligation to you. So the government may not have enough cash, but tells you that I owe you, right? So we will give you that money. But that gives you comfort compared with someone telling you have lost your deposits. So, but what we are doing now, the savings and loans and microfinance, what is being raised, I think they are going to try to pay them in cash. And what we are hoping to do also is to try to restructure those bonds so that we can give them liquidity rather than the bond. So that is also work in progress. Ministry of Finance and Bank of Ghana should be working on as well.
Well, interesting. In case you just tuned in, we have in the studio the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Mahamudu Bawumia, and you're live on Peace FM and UTV, that is United Television. Mr. Vice President, digitization.
Yes.
Hey, Bibia. I say, first of all, it's as we're journey from economics to digitization. As I buy an economy, you found solace in digitization. What is this thing about digitization? Where do you
digitization, no, say economies, no, is systems that make the difference. If you are relying on individuals, you have problems. But you want to build systems so that the systems deliver services. So, in fact, after 2008 election,
yes,
I spent some time at Oxford and I wrote a book on monetary policy. And in the book, because I was thinking through a lot of what had happened in terms of Ghana's economic history and what we needed to do. And then it was clear to me that there are certain things that have to be in place in any economy for that economy to be able to do the things that you see in many developed economies. And we did not have them in place. But the IMF will not come and tell you to put them in place if you don't put them in place yourself. So we had to look for the things that we could, and then technology. So you want to provide these things. We didn't have a national ID. Now, if you don't have a national ID, it means you don't uniquely identify people. So when people go to the bank to borrow, you cannot tell their credit history. And so they'll give higher interest rates. You don't have an address system. So, Oko banker, so you have a higher risk category. Now, more high interest rates so account. So what we saw was that if you use the technology that is available, you can digitize systems and make the service delivery much more efficient. And when you digitize systems, you essentially are able to increase your revenue. And that is because we are moving into a digital economy.
Yes.
Globally. So if as a country you are not ready for that digital economy, you'll be left behind. So there's no issue of leaving economics behind and doing digitization. They are really two sides of the same thing that we are trying to do. So you build your digital infrastructure and leverage on that digital infrastructure to transform the economy. So as you see, Kwame, the national ID NDC Omo 8 years they couldn't issue the national ID card, even though President Kufuor brought it on board in 2008. They came in up to 2016. We couldn't get it done. But you now have over 14 million people who have been enrolled onto the national ID cards. And, by the end of the year, we expect at least 16 million people will have national ID cards. That is a game changer in our economy. It's a real game changer. So everybody, and we are going to link it with births and deaths registry. So you will get a national ID number right from birth, and then we will go on. So the uniqueness of identity is very, very important for the management of the economy, right? So to say you're going to have the national ID card, and that will immediately give us an opportunity to convert all the national ID card numbers to TIN numbers. So right now, if you look at our tax base, we are looking at around less than 3 million TIN numbers in Ghana since independence. Less than 3 million in a population of 30 million people. Less than 3 million tax identification numbers. So the economy is largely informal. Now, from January, the work has started anyway. We've put together a team to do this conversion. Hopefully from January, we are going to convert every national ID number to become your TIN number as well. So immediately you will be able to move from 3 million less to about 16 million.
Into no Biabeba database no so.
Biabeba database no so. So it really formalizes the economy in a very big way. The same with your national health insurance.
But national ID, you start here and you go back and forth, you go in your question, then it's just a way no, you beat me a year. It's only say, you cry no, and home complaints near what they did near.
Yeah, but I think that it is pretty much done. We have 16 million. The next phase that they are going to go, the district offices will continue. Then they'll go to the schools to register the children and all of that. So there's clear commitment, and we've pretty much done half the job so far. So it will be done fully. Exactly. This is now the next. The next phase, is the linkages. That we will link the national ID to GRA, to NHIS, to SNIT. We will doing it next year by the grace of God. When we say NHIS, now they say they won't issue separate NHI cards because it can be put on the NIA card, and then you can do it. So,
Mr. Vice President, also even next year by the grace of God. Now, next year, then NHS will be Vice President.
Let me say by the grace of God. So by the grace of God, the next thing I hear after national ID, digital address system. Again, it solves a major problem, and because of the use of the digital addresses, everywhere in Ghana now has a digital address. So see, we are working with the Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority. They've generated over 4 million unique addresses, and by November, every property in Ghana will have a unique address.
By November this year?
Yes, and then we will begin next month. The 4 million that have been generated, the plates, the number plates, they will start printing them, and we'll start affixing them to those houses that have been generated. But by November, they would have done every place, and also there are certain streets that have not got names. They are also they are naming them, and we're putting them to the MMDCs to confirm and all of that. But you are going to have a completely working national property addressing system. Unique. What we've decided that we need to go for unique addresses for each house or each property, and that is what is going to be done. The street name, the street number, and then the house number and the digital address. That's what is going to be on the plate for every household. And they're starting with the printing of the 4 million now, and then we'll continue. But by November, we'll have all of this done, and it will just be left with the printing, which we'll do. So we've done the digital address system, and this is something we've not had since independence, and digitization has allowed us to do so. So where we, e-commerce, and when we say Ghana Post, they have revived because now you can deliver letters to houses with just the Ghana Post GPS address. No, we've revived Ghana Post. Mobile money interoperability, and this is one of the proudest things that we have done. Mobile money interoperability, it means that, to me, Manisika or Vodafone, you can send to MTN customer and so on. But the other part of it, they say you have made the bank account and the mobile money wallet interoperable. So you can move money between the bank account and the mobile money wallet and vice versa. And you can also do the same with the eSwitch account. So triangular interoperability. And Kwame, this is the first country in Africa to do so. There's no other country in Africa that has been able to deliver mobile money interoperability. And that has
Africa,
Ghana, it is, Kwame, it's not easy to do. Me call Stanford University Business School a year or so ago. Me call my lecture on seminar on what Ghana has done, and one of the professors was amazed. Obisa, how did you get to do mobile money interoperability? Because the players don't tend to like to cooperate. It takes a lot of cooperation because they are all protecting their turf, whether it's the banks, whether it's the telcos, and so on. They are all protecting their turf. The fintechs, they're all. But in Ghana, we've been very lucky with the fintechs, the telcos, the banks. We brought them all together. But once we've done that, Kwame.
Yes, sir.
Since 2018, mobile money interoperability, Ghana has now become the fastest growing mobile money market in Africa. The fastest growing. And it is just very remarkable. Today, Kwame, mobile money transactions as of 2019 was 200 million transactions. 200 million. Not money, but number of transactions.
Number of transactions.
Right? If you look at bank transactions for 2019, it was 599,000.
The mobile money is the thing.
Is now, it has been turned on its head now. Mobile money is more used than your traditional bank. The banking transactions are only 3% of the total.
Interestingly, sir, interoperability, now how much did it cost?
Interoperability, let me tell you, there was a contract.
Not contract order, okay.
To do the interoperability. And that contract was to be done for $1.2 billion.
$1.2 billion.
Yes, that was the contract that was being executed or supposed to be executed. But at the end of the day, we looked at it. I think it was very clear that there were certain conditions precedent that had not yet been satisfied. The Bank of Ghana terminated the contract. And instead of spending $1.2 billion to do mobile interoperability, we spent $4.5 million.
How come?
Because it was value for money. Instead of, because they could
now scope of work in BBI the same thing.
Sorry,
scope of work in BBI the same thing.
Pretty much. I think it's even bigger because of what has been done. We refreshed a lot of the equipment, and as I said, right now we are the leading country in Africa on mobile money interoperability. Nobody has done what we've done, and we're able to do it for $4.5 million. Not even $10 million, but they were charging us $1.2 billion to do this, and we saved over $1 billion just on mobile money interoperability.
In the abrogated contract, did we pay them anything?
No, I think that from what I gather, they were not. They took us to arbitration in London, and I don't think they've been able to prove their case in London. I think the Bank of Ghana had a very strong case.
A foreign company and a local company?
I think it was a local company.
$1.2 billion.
Aye.
Interoperability now can say, yes, baby say over 60 million Ghanaians have a bank account.
I
see anything.
Kwame, say banking is now branchless banking. A bank account no enkyere say uko adan bi mu na wako open a bank account obe yi sika na wako choro check na say banking is taking place on mobile phones. And so in mobile money interoperability, it means that even if you have a mobile money account, ubetime tweet sika akogo bank account mo. Obitimi ama no sika from a bank account into your mobile wallet. So where you use a current account in a bank, you can use your mobile account the same way. You can make payments, you can receive payments. Mobile wallet so it meet your interest so on your balances. So the use or the possession given mobile money interoperability, and which is Ghana is the only country in Africa, the only country. In Ghana, if you have a mobile money account, it's as good as a bank account. In Kenya, if you have a mobile money account, it is not as good as a bank account, even though it can come close, but because you don't have that interoperability. In Tina, Yaka say, if you look at the mobile money customers and you will see that the number of people with bank accounts have gone up very significantly, and that is a credit to what the government of Nana Akufo-Addo is doing, and that is financial inclusion. And because of this mobile money interoperability, we are now able to digitize a lot of government services. So passport is online, which we are DVLA. The same thing. You use your mobile money, you can pay. So all across, because of mobile money interoperability, and in fact, we have Ministry of Finance has put together a platform called Ghana.gov. It has started Operation Ghana.gov platform. We are bringing all the government institutions onto one platform. So whatever you are looking for from a government institution, you can go to that Ghana.gov platform. We are starting with a few agencies, but by early next year, we hope to onboard all the government agencies. So that is the place where you can easily make payments, apply for permits, and all of that. One-stop shop for access to government services. It is going to be quite revolutionary for us in Ghana, and we, other countries like Rwanda have it, where you have one stop where if you go, you can go and apply for a passport, or if you're looking for a GRA, you go there and so on. We've piloted it, and it is showing us, Kwame, it's very interesting that you are seeing major increases in revenue when you go digital. Major increase, sometimes 3 to 4 times of revenue when you go digital.
Because the human to human is cut out.
Human is cut out. You, unfortunately for my Guru boys, the digitization has cut them out, right? So people can sit at home and apply for things and pay, and so revenues are going up.
Revenues are going up, Mr. Vice President. Now, remember back to interoperability. I mean, from baby Sassem. Main opponent, National Democratic Congress Party, says interoperability. Mobile be any BB or home. Now, I want you to show.
The point is.
I want you to show, and then to my question, which is, okay, say over 200 million transactions. Are we taxing mobile money because we have mobile money at Tuska?
Yeah.
Into government revenue bill.
No, the point is that you are not taxing mobile money, and it is, for me, my view, and that we should not tax mobile money, because mobile money transactions, a lot of the people who are using these transactions are very poor people. Someone will get sent 5 CDs on mobile money. Why would you want to tax that? But we want to increase economic activity and the use of that mobile money. So, if you pay for a government service and you pay by mobile money, like you go to a tourist site, you go to Cape Coast or wherever and go to a castle, you pay directly by mobile money, the money will go straight into the account of government.
Yes.
Right? The alternative is to give someone the cash. You don't know how much of it will end up into the account of government. Yeah. Even sometimes on our toll roads, you go to Tema motorway, you pay some tolls, you are not sure how much of it actually ends. But if you do digitize those payments, suddenly you will see revenue going up. And the research, the empirical evidence generally shows that when you digitize, economic activity goes up. Because Kwame, one of the things that we have just introduced, say, roll it out, universal QR code, right? QR, and it's a quick response code, means that we've introduced it. It's now going to be rolled out, but it means that all merchants can now receive money on their mobile phone. You don't need a point of sale device, which is very expensive. Exactly. The QR code is started. I mean, if you go places like the banks, Eco Bank and so on, but we are now moving to a universal QR code so that they are all using the same standards. So, Nancy, I've heard that Antimony Wache has been signed on to universal QR code. The people in Makola we are going to get everybody to sign up, because it means that you can pay, even Trotro, you can pay directly from your mobile phone, and they'll get it directly into their account. So it is what I'm saying, Kwame said, what we have done in Ghana is so remarkable, because all of this is now in place. It's not like we want to do it. It has been done. We just now have to roll it out. And from September going, I think when all the pieces are in place by the banks and the telcos, you begin to see a massive rollout of the universal QR code, which means, Kwame say, if Ghana really wants to go cashless, we have the equipment, we have the architecture to go cashless. And if everybody, receive, even Shoeshine Boy can have his QR code. and you can just pay with your mobile phones directly into the account of the shoe shine boy, and that is it. So we have now got an architecture said we can go cashless very quickly, and this has been done. Kwame, we've launched it, and now we are going to roll it out in a big way. Banks like EcoBank have rolled it out. The fintechs are on board. The telcos are coming on board, and this is the unique nature of Ghana. No, we are bringing all of these people on board to get this done, and so I expect, say, in the next year or two, you're going to see such a different space in the retail area as the QR code is really rolled out in a massive way in our markets and across various retail enterprises.
Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Mahamudu Bawumia, my guest this morning. Kokroko Peace 104.3. Now, Vice President, about digitization. So talking about digitization, you can catch us on Facebook, Peace 104.3 FM, Peace FM Online, UTV Ghana, and also on the Vice President's own Facebook page, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. For those of you who want to plug into YouTube, check out Despite Media, and live on Hello FM Kumasi, Samson Kwame Nyameche, any Hello FM for Kumasi for Chamo Anope, and over 50 radio stations nationwide. We're also live on UTV, United Television Inti. There are so many avenues ubitimi akwakohe. And chibiam bibisa omampenya be di chire about infrastructure. Ne ehon sem but answer na bedru hono the infrastructure wars will come. But I like to do a quick check on 1V, 1D, 1D, 1F amongst others, and then also your biggest crop fititama yemo fra ewa Ghana ha cocoa. It is saying, how's the cocoa sector, how's the cocoa industry doing?
Well, cocoa industry has faced some challenges. I think that there's no doubt at all that the output is not as high as we have. There have been challenges, people replacing cocoa with other crops, disease, and so on. I think there's been some challenges, but we expect what we have done is to negotiate a living income differential for cocoa farmers, which we did. Ivory Coast for say an additional call it what bonus or living income differential of $400 per metric ton to every cocoa farmer. And I think that starting in October this cocoa season, so this coming cocoa season, so once that starts, I think it is going to inject a lot of energy into the cocoa sector. And it should really help the industry.
The cocoa sector would be better than it is.
No doubt.
Well, so cocoa for because minim say ora boahine do nom
boy juma pa.
Oh, cocoa board
boy juma pa. So yebenya no humfa so from October, you bet you a living income differential of $400 per ton for cocoa. And
here, Sankita, who yene Cote d'Ivoire, you bet me a diso. Is this sustainable? Can we do it?
Well, it is being said the way the negotiation with the buyers now, and so the negotiation is done. So the agreement is there, and they just require that these monies are paid to the farmers, and the government should not be the one collecting this differential. And I think that is also very good for us because it should go to the farmers. So you bet me so.
You bet me the so Rabwa Hine do Fifi Boafonum, yes, you bet me the Sudia. Vice President account, Hosimu Juman Nefe, Nyakanamunya Nemra,
I know
and to my very own classmate Eric Daddy Amengo out there, Cocoa Board. I hope that this good news on cocoa will make you guys feel good. Yeah. Vice President, one village, one dam.
Aye.
I know some. Sir, maybe yes, was what we see the 570 dams.
500 and 70 years, 500, almost 57 constituencies in the northern region, 5 northern regions. And so the idea was to say 10 dams each constituency. So that was the target, 570. But of course, some of the constituencies are also a bit urban, and so you may not be able to get 10 dams in those, like you go to Tamale Central and so on. So, but at the moment, let me give you a little bit of a background. I think when we were campaigning in 2016, or before we did our manifesto for 2016, na me were Upper West, Cabo, Madam for Minua Cabo. Abaifa Cabo. Na ye were Upper West. Na ye kuhu, some old women no more digging what looked like a dam, but they were really doing it with their hands, pretty much hand job. And so ye jina hone no more kasa, and we were at the end of the day, we're wondering how they should be suffering so much just to try to create. And the problem for them was water during the dry season, So we thought that we could have small dams across all over so that they could have access to water during the dry season. And that was part of the beginning of One Village, One Dam concept. So far, we have awarded a total of about 435 One Village, One Dam contracts that are ongoing. Out of that, 372 have been completed and 63 are ongoing. That's what the data tells us. So there's been a lot of good progress in the One Village Dam, One Dam.
Ebiswaka say enya dam. Dugout. Bibi fien bi inamoye. And ebi wo ho a nsuo no are. And the farmers do not have use for it.
That's completely false.
How do we address that?
No, that's completely false. I think people have gone to look at it. In fact, recently, I think Omampenyi Dada Kase, One Village, One Dam, it hasn't materialized. It hasn't materialized. But there was a documentary, I don't know if it is a GBC or what documentary, Omoko Bole, his own constituency, and 10 dams were functional. And people are using these dams for irrigation and so on. And they are very, very useful. And there were talks about how it had saved communal fights over water in the constituency. Fulani herdsmen, the fight over water is very, very high in the north. It's very, very serious. And so these dams are providing water. And you should know that some people use even tube wells to irrigate farms and so on. So as our One Village, One Dam, it abua for pa, and then people who need water for their cattle, to wash clothes, to build houses, and so on during the dry season. It has really helped a lot, and I have followed the testimonies of various farmers across the north. If you sit in Accra, you may not understand what the impact of these dams are. You have to go down and then see it. Of course, it's part of a strategy that you are providing water. It's a three-pronged strategy. The small dams, some of the medium dams, like the Tono Dam, which we have rehabilitated for the first time in 40 years. Tono has been rehabilitated.
Fully, is it operational?
Yeah. Tono is operational. And then you have, others like Via and Bontanga, which we are going to work on. But the most important irrigation project that we have put in place in the north is the Pualugu Dam. This is the one that is almost $1 billion and is going to provide irrigation for at least 24,000 hectares. Currently, we have public irrigable land in Ghana of 13,000 hectares. So Pwalugu is going to virtually double what we have, in addition to the flood control and electricity. So it's the biggest investment of any government in northern Ghana since independence.
Yeah, when you start here?
I think we cut the sword for Pwalugu a few months ago. Well, they should be started.
It's only say ebi wo ha abaka say ya cut sword. Now we do the fanfare.
Yes,
but
yes. Well,
you go back a year later and nothing is happening.
So we'll keep our eye on it. We'll keep our eye on it.
How about One District, One Factory?
Oh, One District, One Factory is a successful program. It's a very successful program, as you know.
Some have said more backward. It doesn't cover One District, One Factory. Really.
Well, the One District, One Factory, as you know, Honorable Alain Chairman always says that you don't build a factory overnight. It takes time, and we have done a lot right now under the One District, One Factory. 76 factories are operational under that scheme. Of this, 28 of them are new factories that have been set up, factories like the Kasaropa and Kumfi Juice and all of that. Those are factories that are new, that have been set up. There are others, which are about 48 of them, which are also being which are existing companies that have been supported to do 1D, 1F because of their need for higher capital.
Some have said you therefore cannot call them as 1D, 1F because any government there, any abayno na yama omayno, you'll be private business and I would do seek acquisition.
Business no ebegua, and then you've gone in to help it survive. It is part of a program, but the important thing is to be able to distinguish between what was already existing that you have supported and what is new. That is just transparency. So the data will allow you to distinguish that. It's important that we report what is happening. And there are so much more that is happening. ADB supporting 58 youth enabled factories in terms of processing and so on. So there's a lot that is going on in the 1D, 1F area, and I think that as you go through to the next term, we will see a lot more of these which are in the pipeline come to fruition.
Mr. Vice President, you seem to have a lot of faith in the next term. It's as if it's almost a foregone conclusion.
Oh no, I said it cannot be a foregone conclusion. I'm not going to say we are in a comfortable lead. We are going to work at it and ask for the mandate of the good people of Ghana.
Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, and Waha Anope, I in the Chichin Komo, away Kokoko, Jimediano. So now, Senia Midi can say, what do we feed to her at a piece 104.3, a sound so away UTV live, and which you know, Facebook, no, wait me a Peace FM 104.3, Peace FM online, UTV Ghana, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia on Wankasani Facebook page or home, YouTube for our Despite Media, Hello FM will come and say, UTV and over 50 radio stations across Ghana. Dr. Bawumia, mimbisa asemba kom mekai me maye tutu a research bi mame on fuel price wars those days. Saturday, 16th May 2015. Abaya it is so NDC Abaya Samreno President John Dramani Mahama and 2015. Okay. Saturday, 16th May.
Okay.
The government then announced a 9% increase in fuel prices.
Aye.
Samreno, now we are running mate. And now we are campaign. And as somehow kind any quote, I don't think that there's any doubt now that the current NDC government is the most incompetent, uncaring, and corrupt we've ever seen. The government has thrown all responsible feelings to the dogs and gone ahead to increase fuel prices. Unquote. Then running mate Bawumia. And the fuel prices are costly.
Yeah, so
Obibeka, Hypocrisy, dishonesty. Were you doing for political capital? The fuel price wars.
Oh yes, but I think
are you also incompetent, uncaring, unfeeling? Have you also thrown all reasonable feelings to the dogs?
Kwame,
yes, sir.
I stand by those statements, those words, in the first place. But I think that let's put this in context, Wati. Because we had a government that put us through 4 years of doomsday. That is very, very difficult for businesses, for individuals, for the productivity of the nation as a whole. Yeda sunsumo, 4 years of doomsday. Right?
Yes, sir.
Through this doomsday, increases in electricity prices were still taking place on average of 45% every year, even though we had doomsday. In addition to this, you had electricity price increases. Whoa. Right? 45% in addition to this. In addition to this, increase in electricity.
Yes.
Right? In doomsday, teacher training allowances were cancelled. Nursing training allowances were cancelled. That is very, very insensitive in that context. Then, in addition to that, you had higher increases in taxes on everything, including condoms. They increased the taxes. Teachers who had worked for 2 to 3 years were given 3 months of their allowances, right? So we had a situation very, very clearly. High unemployment. People could not find jobs. They had frozen because of the IMF conditionalities. The NHIS was collapsing. You are moving to a cash and carry system. So the suffering of the people, the hardships of the people were very, very clear. And on top of all of these, you were increasing fuel prices as well. Now, if you look at it, I would say that it was insensitive, but it was a product of an incompetent management of the economy. Just like the way they had to cut teacher training and so on. Now, if you look at petroleum price increases, Kwame.
Yes, sir.
Between 2008 and 2012, the average increases were about 30%. Between 2013 and 2016, average increases of 24%. Then between 2017 and 2019, average increases of 13.5%. So we have increased at about half, more than less than half what they have done, what they did. So it's a complete difference. But not only did we increase fuel prices, that is fine, but we had brought at a much lower rate. But in addition to that, we reduced electricity prices. We restored teacher training allowance. We restored nursing training allowance. We changed that. We paid the teachers arrears from the 2 to 3 months one. We cancelled that policy. We've restored the NHIS back from the cash and carry state that it was in. We brought NAPCO to cushion graduate unemployment. So if you take it in context, the management of the economy generally and the provision to cushion people from hardships allowed the country to bear this increase in the fuel price, the lower increase in the fuel price, much better. Of course, we are talking about a 13.5 increase on average by us, but a much better. We were able to bear it much better as a nation and as households than what they had to we had to bear under their 30% and 24% average increases.
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Answer na yemama numsuo kakra. But answer be numsuo kakra no. Ye numsuo ni wieba pe ye ni beko Cape Coast. Ye beko akɔhwɛ ne manifesto. Any aeroplane dan a oba bi sie. Any se ne ankofo bi se sebe adwen etachire no entasom. Ye bɛhwɛ eno akabat answer na ye beko manifesto no. Yemfa Vice President enku Kumase. Baby okoye ne town hall meeting a ye papa Alhaji Grusa kai okodwendwan nenum. Mr. Vice President, oko Kumase town hall meeting and some bebre wo ho a odi tudwa ho na infrastructure war no started titru pa adwen tachi bi kan say when ni no kre sebe when ni me di ni uni di ma sebe say asem na kan when ni no kre titru fa infrastructure home Kwame Nkrumah interchange be mu interchanges near ho asem ni na ebem and which near many be projects over 17,000 projects are the two just same way no ebi akwa yenhwehwe mu patche say ebi nya no kre for example Kanda die yes Kanda water system bi amose eye ongoing ye ko he ne abandon be 2 years ye ko he ba ko adente say astrotef say ni adente o Madina say in sem no edosum eno achi no so ye hwe National Democratic Congress aye main opponent in Ibabetuya ompache say niamani bi wo ho a odi tudwa enye nokre Oma liste niamani bibri ewo omo press conference omo yemu. Amampany ebedi chi ase me kabia or say the claim of a 10-seater WC toilet in a Sikuma Domi Brakwa does not exist. 10-seater Sikuma is a lie. May come from NDC document room. The claim about an ongoing construction 6-seater toilet block St. Thomas Senior High School as Samanke say is nothing like that is on the ground. Construction of a 12-unit classroom block for Pentecost SHS at Ekropon, no project like that exists. Almost your so far, almost I'm say 26. A patch say and some need to more car and you know how do you respond to this?
Thank you very much, Kwame.
Yes, sir.
It's very important. Say we understand. I'm going to give you the broad view of what we are doing.
Yes, sir.
And then I'll address specifically the question. Who say by what we have done in the last infrastructure town hall is to try to bring transparency and accountability to the whole discussion on infrastructure. So we set about to put together the idea delivery tracker. Right? The delivery tracker. The delivery tracker, there are two aspects of that website. The first is our promises, which we did in the Kumasi Town Hall. So if you go to the delivery tracker, you will see what we have done, what we promised, what we have, the status of that promise. And then the second part of it, infrastructure. Right. And in the delivery tracker on infrastructure, we have put together what we have done across all 260 districts to allow people, everybody, whether you are in Ghana or outside Ghana, to check for yourself, right? This is the first time it has ever happened in Ghana. And Ghana is the first country in Africa to do this. No other country has done this. It's only Ghana that has done it. And this is usually the thing that you will try to get help from people abroad and so on to come and do for you. But we've done it in Ghana by ourselves. The only country in Africa to do it. And me, when I gave the lecture and I demonstrated the website, and I made it very clear that this is going to be a live website. We will update it as we go along. But the information provides an opportunity for everybody to check. It's not like you've just come and stated, say, I have done so many school blocks, or we are showing you at the micro level where each of these things are. So the MMDCs submit all this data, and then we input them. Sometimes you may have in the inputting, instead of Bono East or whatever, Bono, they may change the place where it is, and then someone will point that out to you, and you'll make amends, for example. So one of the things that we should be proud of as a country, very proud of, is this website. It's the only country in Africa that has it, right? That you can go and check and see what government is doing for you. It has not happened before in our country. Now, the NDC, they should go and put a similar website together.
They are not in power.
Oh, no, but you don't need to be in power to you say you have done it. You have been there. You don't need to be in power. We could have done this work without being in power. It's just work. You have the data. Because they keep telling us they are not in power, but they can tell us they've done 2,000 this and 2,000 that. That means they have the data. Mm-hmm. I'm challenging them to just put this on the website, and we can interrogate this data district by district. Kwame, I tell you, they cannot do it because a lot of the projects they talk about do not exist.
But they say some of yours do not exist.
Well, this is what I'm saying, that I'll come to this in a moment. But I challenge them to do it. It's good to criticize, but it's more important to also show what you have done. They cannot show what they have done at this level of detail. They haven't been able to. So, but I asked them, maybe they can take the next 2 weeks, they should put it out. And then we can also interrogate, right? Now, you've pointed out that almost say 26 projects so far are not existing. Now, we will interrogate that list because, sometimes they are very economical with the truth. And I'm putting it mildly. So we will interrogate that list and see, because I've heard my assistant telling me that they have projects like Benchman Kwanta Ajefua on it, which is ongoing, but they are saying it doesn't exist.
Dema Esusiosu.
That Dema Esusiosu Tichimantia, that road is ongoing. There are 3 contractors on that stretch. And it's ongoing, but they are saying it doesn't exist. Of course, the Kanda
water, the Kanda
borehole, for example, is one that was recorded as an ongoing project. Mm-hmm. Okay, now and this is the benefit of the transparency we've introduced. Now you can see, if you say I've done this here, the public will say it's not there. If the MC says it's here, they say no, it's not there. Mm-hmm. Right? So the Kanda borehole, people pointed out that it seems to have been abandoned. So we checked with the municipality, and they're saying yes, in fact they did dig the borehole, but they found that the water salinity was bad. Okay. So they decided to cap it and not continue with the project. But I think in their entries they did not recognize it as an abandoned project. But those are very easy to amend. Kwame, as we put this website together, many districts are coming, and they have come. So we have these projects that you didn't capture since we launched it.
Yes.
Many projects.
But then, Mr. Vice President, so then if Kanda is a typical example of what should not have been there, then we can safely guess that there are others in there too that should not be there.
Well, I will not argue with that. If there is, for example, we have a bridge at Mankraho Chira, right? Chira Road, a bridge. And that should have come under Tano North Municipal. Right? That should have come at Tano North Municipal. But in the entry, it was made. So you will have those sorts of issues. Something to be Rovani Rotal Limited, which was captured under Tano South Infrastructure. should also have come under Tano North, right? So if you go to Tano,
so if I go to Tano South, I won't see it.
You won't see it, and you will say that it doesn't exist. But these projects,
yes, but per what you're giving me, it doesn't exist.
Precisely. But I'm saying that is the benefit of the transparency that we have introduced in the system. If it doesn't, we will know, and then we will take steps to make sure it's properly entered. 26 out of 17,000. In fact, today, if you go to the website, because new projects have now been added, because districts are saying we have 18,075, not 17,000 anymore.
And it can be tracked?
Oh, yeah, it's the same website. It's the same website, 18,075. But if that is the case, right, and you say 26 have problems, and we are going to interrogate that 26, that means you are saying that 99.9% of what you have done is correct. If you can only find 26 that are not correct, right? If those stand to scrutiny, 99.9%. Now that is massive in terms of what you have been able to do for this country. We should not rubbish things just for political expediency. This is new, the only country in Africa that has been able to bring this to bear, to increase the transparency and accountability in government, in our delivery of infrastructure. So Kwame, when we next do the next budget, God willing, this tool is going to be very helpful for us, because if you're a ministry and you bring new projects, immediately we are going to go to the infrastructure tracker, because we can tell from the tracker what is going on in education, what is going on in health, what is going on in agric, and so on. We would be able to tell immediately. You say, why haven't you finished these projects? Why will you want to start these ones?
A new project when there's one unfinished.
You see what I mean? So in terms of our ability to monitor what is going on, and for capital budgeting, something like this is going to be very useful. Right? Someone could come and tell you, I have done A, B, C, D, and you look at it, put it on the website, and then they'll say, no, it hasn't been done. And then there's a lot of accountability.
Transparency, therefore.
A lot of transparency. You cannot go and put it out if you don't think it is correct. You must believe that it is correct. And so that is the transparency. Of course, if there's been mismatch of entries, you will correct them, and as you go, you perfect everything. But you cannot run away from the fact that under this MPP government, under the leadership of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we are bringing in a lot of transparency in government. And this is part of the transparency that we are bringing in.
Well, Your Excellency, I just did a quick check, and from what I understand also, Kenya has also actually activated interoperability with M-Pesa. So somebody says, tell the Vice President.
It's wrong. What you are saying is wrong. M-Pesa interoperability is not the same as Ghana's interoperability.
It's different?
You see, Ghana's interoperability in general sense, you can move money between different mobile telcos, right? The telcos.
Yes.
This is the interoperability Kenya has. But Kenya doesn't have that interoperability between the mobile wallet and the bank account. This is what I'm saying. People need to understand it. What we have done in Ghana has not been done anywhere in Africa. Nowhere. There's no interoperability between bank accounts and the mobile wallets anywhere in Africa. And Kenya doesn't have it. They are way behind us on this matter.
Well, Mr. Digitization says that he believes that we're way ahead of Kenya. And so we'll leave it there until I'm sure that if, for those of you who say you're doing the research on my behalf, if you find... We'll take a break here. Time check, 28 minutes, the top of the hour, 28 minutes to 11 o'clock. Peace 1043. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Eka Yahun Ewaha Anope. Me sure say you didn't come out for well over 1.5 hours. Yababaka. Yabako MPP manifesto launch Ewo Cape Coast. any emusem pie by me sure say aeroplane matters, aeroplane park ni emusem sem na beba. We'll be right back. I'm on focus on Hopa. Obi Akofa press release.
Oh dear.
From the Central Bank of Kenya. That actually says you're right.
Thank God.
I must say implementation of interoperability of mobile phone financial services started from the 10th of April 2018. And a wallet to wallet.
That's right.
Okay. So you might me that's the Central Bank of Kenya for
say Mr. Medawamo
say omukoye adwuma ene nia okan no aba be demo pepepe. Anyway, so Yembe Cinco Cape Coast. Manifesto launch.
Aye.
Say and also the ehun bebre ebai. At the important highlights of manifesto nintia ufi se Ghana for sure yebeka se Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo ni abedi echire Mahamudu Bawumia yento abamam.
Yo, me da se kwame na uhwe a manifesto no the team no is a very instructive team. Leadership of service.
Leadership of service.
Protecting our progress, transforming Ghana for all. You know, that really, we know it encompasses a idea, right? Through the leadership of service, Nana Akufo-Addo is really a servant leader, and he's done so much. And in this election, it is very, very important. Say, yemfa sa dia yina we have to consolidate what we have done. We have done so many things. We share NAPCO, free SHS, the one district, one factory, one constituency, one ambulance. So many projects that we have started. It's very, very important. Planting for food and jobs. Say we should consolidate that progress and we should protect it. Everything, because if you make a change, you will see an unwinding of the programs like free SHS. I have no doubt in my mind that the credibility and sincerity of the NDC on free SHS cannot be trusted. They give so many different versions of what they think about it, and meanwhile, as far as free SHS, they say they will review. What does it mean? Review, no. But bring a policy. This has been in place for the last 4 years. So now what I say, Mayor ABC. Now itima interrogating. But you say you review, it doesn't make sense. They said that they will restore teacher training allowances and nursing training allowances. But then they said that they never cancelled it in the first place. You don't understand.
Loan be by.
Yeah, but is the loan the same as a grant? What way be that? Is the loan the same as a grant? If you say you have replaced it, that means you've cancelled the grant. You cannot say you haven't cancelled it. This is even in English language, it's a simple understanding. The cancellation of a grant is not the same as introduction of a loan, right? Because the two are not the same. So, their credibility, they will say anything that they think they need to say to win an election. So even things that they have brought into being, they are trying to go back on some of those things. So we cannot risk our progress. And so the major part of this manifesto was part of let's protect the progress, because the manifesto the first part of it is accounting for our stewardship. Yeah. So we go sector by sector. Kwame, yes. We have put together sector by sector, a list of almost 350 achievements that we have in all of these sectors over in the 289 categories. You can count about 350 achievements of this government in all the 17 sectors that we analyze in the manifesto. And they are so impressive. And there's no, I mean, sector by sector, you can see how much better we have performed. And so all of this progress that we are making in every sector that we can think of, we need to protect that progress in the interest of our people. So many people will be at risk if we allow the NDC to come into government with a very unclear program and an uncredible, a program that is not credible, because their record is a bad one across the board that they are talking about. I can't see a sector where their record is better than ours. I can't. So why give up? We're creating more jobs. We're stabilizing the economy. We are growing agriculture, everything. So why change when you have something that is better than what was before, and the same old person wants to come back? So, we talked about accounting for our stewardship, protecting our progress, but then now we also in this manifesto talked about the impact of COVID and what we are trying to do to recover from the impact of COVID, and the CARES program that we have, COVID alleviation, revitalization of enterprises, strategy that we have, project that we have to try to revitalize a lot of enterprises that have been affected by COVID, and we have that in the manifesto. Then we go to the final part of the manifesto, two parts where we are looking at transformation and getting accelerated growth. And the digitization, creating a digital economy, and how we want to do it in terms of reducing taxes on some of the digital devices, expanding broadband, and then creating these interlinkages created between the digital infrastructure already. So we want to let this country become the hub of digitization and a digital economy in West Africa. And then we also want to look at building the private sector to support accelerated growth. A lot of what we want to do, we want to do it in partnership. Private sector no yakabum na etimi eye jumanu bebre, and we have a number of policies that we want to do. One is the human capital side, education. Kwame,
yes, sir.
Unim say ye manum 1.2 million what senior high school. Omu wiea mu bebre bepe say omu be call university.
Okay.
But we hear say and also ebeha adwen kakra because of the cost of going. So parents are senior high school fees now. Omobaye then no bit universities dear. So you per se the new policy to allow say tertiary institution the opportunity say obetime loan edia kono is there, and then when you finish you pay back.
And now see no guarantor no.
No guarantor, because guarantor system a deprive nipa bebre omuntimi nko, because omuntimi nya obi a obeba ba guarantee ama omo, because obi ne pension on pese odidi agro. But if I say ya ma national ID card obi a obi, and national ID card yiso nyame adom ebeya o tin number, and also nyame adom ebeya o social security number. So once you have the national ID card system. So Uji Busia, government Mao Busia for school fees uwie na oye juma ubetime tua kakra
Mr. Vice President Patrick Jinahwana mimisa question back was particularly yen hwehwemu no yekopie krate biso senior lecturer University of Ghana Department of Political Science or say Abayama 2-year period according to your manifesto. Say guarantee bit media your budget bosiani the bitua. Now your friend Dr. Isaac Owusu Mensa on Wednesday in Amwa and the Kasai or Joy FM. Or say not everyone who completes his or her tertiary education immediately finds a job. Many beneficiaries might not be able to raise enough money to pay for the loan within the given 2-year period. I think, or say, even though he lauded the policy, or Wabasu said a good idea,
misunderstood it. Explaining. So, the policy is that, and in fact, that is exactly what we realize. You see, Yamao loan noa, ubeya national service 1 year, right? And then after national service, no so or grace period of another year before you start paying, and hopefully by then no ubingejuma. So you essentially have 2 years after finishing. One, you do national service. The other is a grace period. And then you start paying. Right, and you pay over a period of time. So the 2 years they are thinking about, say you pay it within 2 years. No, that's not the case at all. Say within 2 years of finishing, you are still trying to put yourself together. So maybe we didn't explain it as well, or they didn't read the manifesto itself. But I think that with that explanation, then their concerns will be addressed. In
the first year, national service. Second year,
it's a grace period, right? So you have 2 years before you start paying. We hope that between national service and that 1 year grace period, and then. Well, that is the other issue that we're going to have to deal with. But hopefully, we will all get jobs. We should plan on the positive. Say,
my allowance will be 5% might slip through, 10% might slip through.
I think for any financial program,
yes,
you have to make those allowances. Any, whether it's a bank or non-bank, that some people may not
meet up.
Any day is also. But what is going to happen? Why we think it's so important with the structure that is being put in place in the say, it becomes sustainable. Because it becomes almost like after a few years, maybe 5 years or so, it becomes a revolving fund. Because those who are now paying back, then we will be using that to give new loans to people coming on board.
But the guarantor system not making sure say at least
yes, but it was also denying a lot of people education. A lot of I talked to the Student Loans Trust a while before we. Yes, because in NIPA, you're guaranteeing essentially with your pension, and a lot of people were not willing. So people were leaving, were not going to university simply because omunya guarantor. That was all. It was a big issue for them. So we believe that this is one of the benefits of digitization. The digitization gives us your national ID, and we can track you in the system. One way or the other, you will account for it. You pay, but because you can't, your NHIS, your SNAIT, your everything will be linked to your digital ID, and that alone is sufficient for us in terms of replacing the guarantor.
Well, I hope Sirway will answer those questions. Now, how about the issue of rent? I don't know in Chechemu to say.
Yes, rent no so a high dream pa because nipa pi omuwie school no omu hwehwe juma omunya juma no pe omu pe accommodation.
Yeah, omu pe baby ada.
Na o konya accommodation yi na obi say for 6 months and 2 years simple advance bra. Now onion start juma yi. You don't have any savings. Now, almost to 6 months and now 2 years advance. It's hard you know a high thing. You should share best practices from around the world.
Yeah.
Me share that core rent control board. Say because idea omo as far as the rental issue coso. Now policies are yedi by say we'll have a national rent allowance scheme yedi by tuja. So essentially if you have a formal type of employment or juma you may deduct your payments for the rent from your salary, then this rental scheme we will pay the landlord directly the advance, and then we will deduct the payments on a monthly basis from your salary, so that what you would have normally paid rent because most people can afford the rent for 1 month is the 6 months or 2 years advance now hiking. So what you would have normally paid for 1 month that would be deducted at source.
But Mr. Vice President, say advance rent advance technically is against the law. 2 years at the end, it's against the law.
That's also a good way of enforcing the law. Because we are going to get a database of all the landlords with their digital addresses. You see, so you will now have to work within the law. So essentially the law says 6 months. This is what I understand. So we will be dealing with landlords on that basis. But you're going to try to, because what is happening, let's say, Kwame,
yes, sir.
There's all what we call a market failure. The landlords are worried that this person, if you give him this room or this apartment, they are going to stop paying, and then you have a difficulty of not because of getting them out. So they then try to ask for long advance payments so that they can have some security. Meanwhile, the tenants too don't have the capital. Almost need capital, no. Tenants almost need capital, no. So there's a market failure. So government is coming in, and if government is paying directly to the landlords will feel in a better position. They will feel that, oh, wait there, I don't have to worry because government is committed and I'm receiving my money from government.
But Excellency, the mechanics of it will be different, I'm sure. Esan say, Mr. Atia Juma, Ebia Maketia will probably determine the kind of property I'm renting.
Precisely.
Intino Edruha, Sebia, the most decent accommodation I'm Your fan is a 500 cedis a month.
Yes, right.
And now 300 cedis a month.
Yeah.
Market ye mu ebi an 1,500. Inti some mechanics no you drew how are we going to work that out?
Well, I think they will work it out, but I think that it's your income must be able to support your rental payment. Otherwise, yeah. You see what I mean? You 12,500 now, rent 2,500 a day. So it's hard in so. But if you are 12,500 now, 100 and now 200. So we also end up having to cut our coat according to our size. But this thing is being done, even in the US, it's being done. It's not new. So the mechanics of it is not a problem. Nyamiadum will put all of that together. But it's very important. There's a big problem with rent advance and getting accommodation. So government is coming in with this scheme to help people get access to soft loans. And we'll work with the private sector on this. Soft loans to be able to rent. So instead of paying 6 months advance, you just pay monthly payments, and that will be very, very important.
Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Mahamudu Bawumia and Nawaha Anope. Let me say, for us at Kokroko, we're also proud. It's the very first time a sitting vice president has honored us with his presence on this show. And if first running mate, say or a vice president, man as I say when you're Yakan send bebre, Yaka economy, Yakanyama bebre, I must say Ababi drew NPP manifesto, I copy Cape Coast. Now, many be free mobile, this issue about rent and the mechanic student loans and the issue of no guarantee. And most of my free Wi-Fi. How feasible is that?
Oh, it's very feasible. The it has begun. The contract has been awarded. The process has begun.
So where?
Ministry of Education. So for senior secondary schools, there are two processes actually going on. Kwame, unim say ECG, omo fiber across the country.
Yeah.
I didn't know
for their electricity wiring this
almost everywhere omo meter no omo fiber.
Nam from
Asasiasi. So in the context of what we were investigating for free Wi-Fi, we found out this, and so the Ministry of Education is has engaged a contractor for the free Wi-Fi for the secondary schools. And that program is
all secondary schools.
All secondary schools. All.
Do we have the capacity?
Yes, we do. Oh yes, Nyamiadum. It's just Wi-Fi.
Veep, are we just dreaming big for the purposes of dreaming big, thinking big for? And I said there's a concrete
Yes, but the point is that, as I said, if you get to the point, because we've talked to a number of potential service providers, and the Ministry of Education has chosen one of them, right? And this is not rocket science. Having Wi-Fi in a place is not rocket science. Other countries have done it. But sometimes your mind's not a limited kakra. We always think that some things are impossible. That's how, but these things other countries have done it. We can do it. It's not if you can have electricity in your home, we can also have Wi-Fi in schools. There's no problem. So I know, and then the ECG is working on about 13 tertiary institutions that to bring in the free Wi-Fi. So the ECG is working on that side. Ministry of Education is working on the secondary schools, and we will see a major, I think, change in this area next year, inshallah.
Interesting. Let me look at two other areas and then slowly add in housing.
Yeah.
You say State Housing Company is here you say there are other projects going on. Housing area. One of the biggest complaints that it is called affordable, but it's not. Mr. Vice President.
Yeah, thank you very much. A manifesto more. The housing sector is where we have tried to attack this thing from a three-pronged approach. Which is, first is that there are a lot of people who cannot buy homes; they can rent, and the rental assistance scheme, the rental assistance scheme, where we are giving loans for people to pay rent, is one of the ways we are dealing with that category of people. Then you also have people who really who are very low income and need housing. And what we haven't focused on, any low income housing. We keep talking about affordable housing, and that tends to be more for the middle class than for the low income. And so what we are doing in this manifesto is shifting the emphasis towards the low income. So a lot of land banks have been procured, and we want to build a lot more low income housing, working with the Building Roads and Research Institute, BRRI. We've already talked to them about designs using local materials for the low income houses, because that then brings down the cost. And these low income houses can also be rented to the low income people. Like, these are housing estates. right, as you have in other countries for low-income people, and so you can rent or have rent-to-own schemes and so on. So that's the second leg of our housing policy. Then the third leg is really to get the mortgage market working for the more of the middle class who can afford it. And so what we are doing there, we're going to ask the State Housing Corporation, for example, working with the private sector, to get a lot more active in that area. So far, they've done very well, State Housing, without any borrowing. They've done a lot of projects, and a bit more capital could see them delivering it. So we have three-pronged approach: the rental assistance scheme, the low-income housing, and the mortgage affordable housing for the middle income.
And we're sure this will solve the problem?
We think that it will. We will definitely on the way to solving the problem. Housing is a challenge. 1.7 million or so deficit that we are dealing with, but we have to start somewhere. But for the longest time, we know government has really recently anyway focused on low-income housing, and we need to move into that area.
Interesting. Creative arts. More manifesto creative arts.
Yeah. Well, creative arts is
a major. More promise so
No, I think that creative arts is a very, very key. I think that if you look at the manifesto, we are saying that creative arts major pillar because there's so much talent. So the support no koma or more, it will help us a lot. A lot of the talent is there, but having access, say, to recording studios, for example, to go and record and their music and all of other things, is a problem. It's a real problem. And so what we said is that we will work with the private sector to put in recording studios in the major places like Tamale, Kumasi, Takoradi, and Accra, where they can rent. They don't have to put up their own. They can just go and rent the space and do the music and all of that. We've also set up the Creative Arts Bill has gone through Cabinet, and it will definitely go to Parliament when Parliament comes back in October, and we hope we can see if we can pass it. I don't know, I hope so. But the Creative Arts Bill is going to create a Creative Arts Fund, right? And that will also help the creative arts. Recently, when the mid-year budget review was done, you saw that the creative arts was given, I think, close to 50 million Ghana cedis to help cushion them from the impact of COVID. So I think that we need to do this and also continue and also build theaters. Like we have said, we want to build a theater in Kumasi, we want to build a theater in Tamale, we want to build a theater in Takoradi, and so on.
When will it start? Because we want to build it here.
Yeah,
respectfully,
manifesto. No, I don't know. The manifesto is your intention to build. So we are declaring that intent, but we are saying specifically, say, creative arts. No, we want to give it a focus. We want to consider it as a major growth pool in this economy. You can create a lot of jobs in creative arts, and we should invest in creative arts. And that is what we are saying in the manifesto.
Into creative arts for Mame pressure no mpamucho se mwate. Airport. I believe it is one of the biggest takeaways from manifesto launch. Does Cape Coast need an airport? Argentina airport, airstrip, aerodrome, why?
Yeah. But I think that the issue, I think it speaks. So the manifesto no koyo it means that there's nothing else to talk about. If you have to go and pick up that as an issue after this major piece of work across.
Well, you're the party in power, so what do you expect? No,
but I know, but I'm just saying that said manifesto. Usually you expect the policies that you've put inside to really be interrogated by your opponents and other people alike. But the issue that has come up more is I would have thought that education and other things is an airport in Cape Coast, and that is also good because it allows us to explain. Kwame,
yes, sir.
So that we share airport in Cape Coast no idea here in my in our opinion. I think it will be a good thing for Cape Coast. Why do I say so? Well, say historically, Cape Coast used to even be the capital of Ghana.
That's true. Gold Coast.
Gold Coast, yeah. It used to be the capital. Cape Coast today, if you are talking about the history of slavery in the world, anywhere in the world, is you talk about or study the history of slavery, you will study Cape Coast. That you cannot tell the story about the history of slavery without talking about Cape Coast, of all the forts and castles in Cape Coast. So in terms of this, the slavery issue is very big. You talk today, for that matter, about tourism in this country. Tourism in this country. And Cape Coast is the tourism capital of Ghana. There's no other place that attracts as many tourists as Cape Coast. You talk about education. And today, if you look at education in Ghana, Cape Coast is the education capital of Ghana. So the amount of traffic in terms of people that goes to Cape Coast is quite significant. It's quite significant. And so if you are looking at trying to put in place infrastructure, say the infrastructure ebe boosting the economy of Cape Coast, you have to look at it long term. And the tourism industry is one that really is important. Tourists like convenience. so I can fly into a place. Kwame.
Yes, sir.
I can fly into a place. I don't have to come in and be on a 3-hour journey on a bus to get to the place. So that the airport will provide a lot of convenience for tourists who are coming in. It will help a lot, and it will also boost other industries in around Cape Coast as you have it. So I think that the whole idea of boosting the place, you look at Accra, Kumasi, the Cape Coast, Takoradi area, that triangle, that triangle that we're talking about, that area has probably 60% of the population of Ghana.
Ebiaka said, why don't you fix the road? Why don't you dualize the road? Why don't you get interchanges, for example?
That is going to be done. That I'm sure will be done. You need not only the roads, but you also need rail. The way that we're thinking about the whole thing, you need major infrastructure, transportation.
Just a train kwang.
Train, the road is there and the airports are there.
But Ibipache said the road is more important now and known as you say a priority.
Kwame,
yes, sir.
There's no reason why we are doing all sorts of roads. There's no reason why you can't work on the two at the same time. There really is no reason, because the road, I mean, as I say, is got to be part of the plan. Because you don't want to have an airport which then difficult to get to and all of that. So the road and the rail, you have to think long term. We're thinking rail, we're thinking roads, but that is going to be on the basis of that infrastructure. It will boost the economy of the central region, really boost it. And this is the fourth poorest region in Ghana. The fourth poorest region.
So in reverse, can the region support an airport? It's the fourth poorest region.
Yes,
you want to put an airport there, you want to put rail.
That precisely, that in fact the airport will boost the region. right? In terms of economic growth, it will, because there will be more people coming in. There are many people who would like to go to Cape Coast, but maybe thinking about how inconvenient it is. Travelers from abroad and all of that. You provide the infrastructure not only for Cape Coast, but between Cape Coast and Kumasi, Cape Coast and Accra, Cape Coast and Takoradi, and all of that. Then you are boosting economic activity in the area.
I did a little background check. Apparently, Cape Coast Airport has semi yesterday. It's
not new.
Yabetwaba and Amosimugwakusi Airport. Is it a vote catching buying gimmick?
Oh no, that cannot be the
because this conversation has been going on for more than 20 years.
Yes, and so I mean, as you said, so many things have been going on for more than 20 years in Ghana, but the time has come for us to put that as a key policy to undertake, a key piece of infrastructure. Of course, you're going to try to get this done on a BOT basis, if possible, so that government is not really expending a lot of money in that direction. And so it is an idea whose time has come. And I believe that the people of the central region deserve an airport. In fact, there's more of a case for an airport at Cape Coast than there was for an airport in Ho. There's more of a case for it. But I didn't see a lot of resistance to the airport in Ho as I'm seeing the airport in Cape Coast. But in terms of the tourist potential, Cape Coast is bigger. Fine, it's good that we have an airport in Ho, that's fine. But I'm just saying that the economic case is stronger in Cape Coast. Much, much stronger.
Much stronger.
Yeah.
Well, we're wrapping up slowly, Your Excellency. You mentioned the automobile industry, and VW is here. Toyota is coming.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that's what you just told us. But your own, there's Kantanka. Ebipache said we're not giving Kantanka the same push or the same incentives that we are giving the VWs and Toyotas. There's also the Second-Hand Car Dealers Association. They are up in arms. And almost Thursday, as a demonstration, it's and said, you're not treating them fairly.
Okay.
What are we doing about our own?
Oh, thank you very much. I think they said the incentives to Kantanka are really no different from the incentives to VW. The automotive policy applies to all players, equal level playing field. So the idea VW and I said Toyota, sad you know Kantanka. And in fact, we are actually buying cars from Kantanka, from what I understand, and so on. So we want to boost Kantanka. And they are doing some very, very good vehicles, even electric vehicles now, smaller vehicles. And so it will be. And what we are also doing with the automotive policy is we are introducing a leasing arrangement so that there's an economy, so that people, whether they are bus drivers or trotro drivers or nurses or doctors, you can get your vehicle brand new in Ghana without having to pay import duty, and you pay for it over time through leasing arrangements. So, if you are a teacher and you don't have money, because you have the whatever your national ID and other things, government bit me abwao. Now what car no fofro. So idea I actually say bus ni trotro ni taxi ni omutme ato sakaya ye manufacture wa Ghana yi. And so we'll create the jobs here and make it sustainable. So the automotive industry, we want to add to it the leasing policy. So the nipa bit me ato saka seeing na spare parts so I think it is very important. I think Second-Hand Car Dealers Association, the Minister for Trade and Industry is engaging them, and I think that they will continue to engage. But I don't really think that they should really. I don't really think that there should be a demonstration or anything like that. They should sit down and talk, and then we'll see where we can meet them and explain what is going on to them.
Quick one also, traditional medicine practitioners. Almost say in your manifesto you mentioned them. They have indirect jobs to over 3 million people. Now, I must say, my manifesto, say you provide them support. Support you man chechim. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think that there is a general policy direction say traditional medicine is very important and we should support the industry. The details we will flesh out, of course, we will discuss with them, but the Ministry of Health will handle those details.
Into traditional for Mate. Then somebody has just sent me this one. The Town and Country Planning Department in the Central Region actually started feasibility work on this airport in 1996.
Okay.
And it goes on and on. Unfortunately, it's a bit too long, and so I'm unable to read it. Your Excellency, how do you assess election 2020? What are you saying?
Well, we ended say Nyaminsem. Now 2020, it's 3 months away.
Yes.
I think that the can say yeba ko apro na ye can chire obia ejuma ayaye. Said ya mama Nana Akufo-Addo obedi president no. Within the last 4 years, ejuma say na ayaye. Mimi gidi say yetimi communicate ye policies no and how they have benefited people. Then the people will look at us favorably. And so, but we don't want to take anything for granted.
Yes.
So, we have to work hard, but pray and leave it in the hands of God.
Are you saying that you're not in a comfortable lead?
Definitely not in the type of comfortable lead that our opponents were last time. We'll leave that one for them.
But you have hope.
Inshallah.
Oh,
very much so. Very much so. It's a lot of work, Kwame. The work is massive. It speaks for itself. You go to every district, Kwame. There's no district in this country that hasn't been touched by the work that Nana Akufo-Addo has done. Every district.
What are some of your biggest challenges as Vice President?
As Vice President, I think that I have a boss who really wants things to be done in a hurry. He's almost a workaholic. He's working
at his age.
I mean, he's stronger than us, the younger men. You know, he is demanding. And it's, you know, so of course it's something that we all have to work to. So you cannot relax. You have to keep going at it. You know, government is also very, very large, and you have to coordinate a whole lot of agencies to get certain things done. It can be a challenge, but it also helps us all know what is going on. So I think that the whole issue of wanting to deliver quickly, but sometimes government doesn't move as quickly as you do. You know, sometimes I realize in government that, you know, if you want something in 6 months' time, you should say you want it in 3 months' time.
so that way you can drive people. But I hear you also drive your people. You're not very different from your boss that you're complaining about.
Well, he drives me, and I also have to drive somebody else. Yes. But I have a good team. I'm very proud of my team. They're excellent. Yeah.
Would you like to succeed your boss one day?
Oh, the Ewonyaminsem. I'm very happy working for my boss. He's a great boss, and that is all I'm thinking about.
But Ewonyaminsem, whether you succeed in one day or not.
Yeah. You know, everything has to be God.
Papa.
Yeah. So you really have to just work. Do your work when He gives you the opportunity. Anything that comes afterwards, if He wants it, it will happen. If He doesn't, it wouldn't happen. Then you shouldn't be worried about that.
You sound
I'm focused on my work.
You sound like a content man.
I am very happy with what I'm doing. I'm very, very happy with the responsibilities I'm doing. I'm very happy with the opportunity to bring real change to the lives of people, to support the vision of the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, and I'm very happy about that.
On a very, very, very light note, Samira Konfanseman.
You're Konfanseman.
Obisi Mbisa said that's. You're going to Fanceman those days have anything to do with the airport?
We realize how difficult it was.
You went through a lot of hell going to see her, so Samira is part of the reason why you want an airport in Cape Coast.
No, it's good.
First time we've had a vice president here, and we're very grateful for your time. Yadasi Bebre,
okay.
And you're not better as an insra.
Okay.
Yanni that's an insra.
Okay, Mr. Das an insra.
Have a beautiful day, Your Excellency, and thank you very much again.